This past week brought the first statewide election since Barack Obama took the presidency in the fall of 2008. And with the recession, state budget woes, and corruption scandals, a rush to the polls could have been expected on Election Day. But as NCTV 17's Alex Simmons tells us, that wasn't the case.
Judging by the look on the streets, many had a stake in Tuesday's primary elections. Looking at voter turnout, all the campaign fanfare didn't translate to big numbers at the ballot box.
And just the feel from the public with people calling in that we knew it was going to be on the lower side. We've been as high as 35%, so this was a pretty slow election for this type of an election.
Voter turnout was just under 25% in DuPage County. The 2008 November elections brought out 77% of voters. Even with the low turnout, the winners had plenty to celebrate. Dan Cronin won nearly half the Republican vote in a race for DuPage County Board Chair. That race had no incumbent. The county has never had a Democratic chairman. In Naperville's District 5 of the county board, John Zediger edged Joe Wozniak for the Republican nod by 116 votes. There were no primary opponents for Naperville's candidates running for Illinois Senate and representative seats. Those races will be fought in November. Moving to Will County, Naperville's District 3 on the county board saw a shakeup. Suzanne Hart and Lori McPhillips will be joining incumbent Ann Drayle to do battle with District 3 Democrats come November. Will County also saw a highly anticipated sheriff's race. Paul Copas ran away with the Republican nomination, and the Democrats voted in Pete Piazza.
Here at the DuPage County Election Commission, officials are still tabulating voting data taken on February 2nd. Political experts attribute the sparse turnout to a couple of things: voter fatigue and Illinois' earlier primary date.
This was the real, the first real big election that we're paying attention to, and it really didn't come that long after the campaign ended. I mean, it was fall of 2008, but because we spent the whole year thinking about Obama's first year in office, it feels like that there's been campaigning going on throughout.
Voter turnout patterns in DuPage and Will counties match up with statewide trends. Sources at the State Board of Elections say this year's numbers will challenge the lowest turnout ever in Illinois. Just 25% of voters went to the polls in 1978 and in 2006. Reporting from the DuPage County Election Commission, I'm Alex Simmons, Naperville News 17.
The low turnout didn't stop a hot race for governor from coming down to the wire. It was too close to call after the polls closed on election night, and it took 2 days for gubernatorial candidate Dan Hines to concede the Democratic nomination to Governor Pat Quinn. Quinn won by just more than 8,000 votes, less than 1 percentage point between the two. The GOP nod for governor is still up in the air, with Bill Brady and Kirk Dillard battling it out. Absentee ballots throughout the state are still being counted. Alexi Giannoulias took the Democratic nod for President Obama's Senate seat and will go up against Republican Mark Kirk in November. Kirk had 56% of the Republican vote. Second Appellate Court Judge Ann Jorgensen stays in her currently appointed GOP seat. She beat out former DuPage County colleague Kenneth Moy with 68% of the vote. The general election is on November 2nd.